Hello guys, this is Doran's Movies, and today I'll be giving you the lore of the Scythe of Elune, going through its vast history, purpose, and in the end the artifact questline. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Scythe of Elune is an ancient weapon that is heavily tied to the origin and the history of the Worgen. The creation of it goes all the way back to the War of the Satyr some 9,000 years ago. In the War of the Ancients, the Burning Legion was defeated, but the Satyr, their creations, still remained and they posed quite a large threat to the Night Elven society. Rallar, one of the druids, argued with Malfurion over the use of the pack form, which is a druidic transformation into a wolf tied to the wolf ancient Goldrinn. Even though this form gave them immense ferocity and strength, it also made them uncontrollable and unable to distinguish between friend and foe, becoming very dangerous. Because of this, Malfurion outlawed it, but this backfired as Arwell, one of the Night Elven druids, died in a satyr attack as he followed his order, and without the use of the form he was unable to defend himself. This created a big rift between the druids and Belisra, as she was devastated by the death of her lover Arwell. So at some point the druids of the pack fell back into feral rage of the pack form. Rallar was the one who managed to retain his sanity when using the form, so he became the leader of the druids of the pack, known as Alpha Prime. Now, with the help of Belisra, Alpha Prime created a Scythe by attaching a fang of the fallen wolf ancient Goldrinn to Belisra's staff. The purpose of the Scythe was to control the uncontrollable rage in the pack form by submitting their energies to the Scythe willingly. However, this completely backfired, as instead of mastering the pack form, they fell even deeper, transforming into the feral Worgen. With their newfound powers, they tore through both friend and foe in the battle against the Satyr, which forced Malfurion to react. In order to stop the curse from spreading, he banished the Worgen into the Emerald Dream, where he thought they would fall into slumber for all eternity. The Scythe was then entrusted to Meltendris, but as she died in the final battle of the War of the Satyr, the fate of this weapon was uncertain. 10,000 years later, the Burning Legion had invaded once again, and Archimonde was defeated as the lead commander of their force. Unlike the Scourge that was stopped after the death of the Lich King, the Burning Legion still remained in big number on Azeroth and they still posed a threat, and the Night Elves in particular had a very tough job of removing them. One of the sentinels, Velinde Starsong, had a task of clearing Felwood and Ashenvale, and she pretty much had it under control, but as soon as they advanced, everything started to go wrong and Legion forces were decimating their numbers. Velinde, in the moment of desperation, prayed to the moon goddess Elune, begging for power and the ability to avenge her fallen sentinels. All of a sudden, she received the Scythe of Elune, which she assumed was the gift from the goddess herself, even though she didn't really have any evidence for it. The Scythe was no ordinary weapon, and soon enough she realized that she can not only communicate with the Worgen, but she can also summon them into the world. This seemed perfect, as she built a powerful army of feral warriors who were especially good at cutting down demons. The battle was rapidly turning in her favor, but soon enough she became worried as some of them started to disregard her orders. Velinde decided to stop summoning them, as she realized that she would create an even bigger threat than the Burning Legion, but unfortunately it didn't work that way, as the number of Worgen continued to increase due to their ability to use the Scythe of Elune without her, so she couldn't stop them in any way. She was pretty much clueless, she didn't know what to do, but she had heard rumors that the Archmage Rugal also had the ability to summon Worgen in the Eastern Kingdoms, which to her seemed like the only way to find help. Velinde traveled to Eastern Kingdoms in hopes of meeting him, but she only made it as far as Duskwood, where she was attacked and killed. Subsequently, the Scythe was lost, making the problem even worse. Not long after, it was found by a group of miners, and one of them, called Jetrus, picked it up. This caused a disaster as Worgen were summoned from the Emerald Dream into Duskwood, killing his friends and creating an even bigger problem. To make this matter even worse, the Dark Riders of the Deadwing Pass, the Cursed Merchants, were searching for it just like many other artifacts, but it actually ended up in the hands of the Wolf Cult first. The Wolf Cult, if you don't know what it is, was created when Arugel summoned the Worgen to Azeroth and was ruled by Alpha Prime, also known as R'hllor Fangfire, one of the original druids of the pack who became their leader. The Wolf Cult needed a scythe in order to free the rest of the Worgen from the Emerald Dream and unleash them into the world of Azeroth. Luckily, Revelcost, a paladin, managed to liberate the scythe and defeat the Wolf Cult operating from Duskwood. After that, the Scythe of Elune was passed into the hands of Brink and SI7 agent, who then delivered it to the Night Elf Velorn. After that, Velorn brought the weapon to his fellow Night Elves in Gilneas and Belisra Starbreeze. They later used the Scythe of Elune to finally defeat Alpha Prime and stop the Wolf Cult. Now in Legion, the Scythe of Elune is an artifact weapon that the druids are able to wield. But before acquiring it from Belisra and Velorn, the Dark Riders finally managed to track it down and steal it. After that, you meet up with Revelcost and work alongside him to defeat the Riders at Karazhan and retrieve the weapon. It is uncertain what the fate of the Scythe of Elune is at the moment, as it is in the hands of the players as an artifact weapon, but right now it is used in the fight against the Burning Legion. Alright, that is all I have for this video. Now do leave your feedback on what you would like to see next and what you think about this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel already, as it really helps out and keeps all the videos going. Thanks a lot for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and see you next time.